Hello guys, you're welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be learning how to go about the cutting and sewing of this beautiful kaftan with this stylish neckline. Although this is going to be for a baby girl, a little baby girl about 1 year old, but the same process applies to an elderly person or a bigger size. So for this project, I'm going to be making use of a Mikado fabric and a brocade fabric. The Mikado is going to be the bodice, while the brocade is going to be for the neckline and the sleeve hem design. You can make use of a brocade, you can make use of ashoke, and you can make use of any other fabric of your choice for the neck piece. To make this for yourself, you're going to need the shoulder measurement, sleeve length, hip circumference, and the dress length. But because this is all the fabric that I have and I'm making for a baby girl, a little baby girl, I'm going to be using all the fabric that I have here, the width and the length of the fabric. To start with, you're going to fold your fabric into two like this. Your fabric has to be on fold, or you place two pieces of fabric on each other. Then you are also going to fold it again into four. On the top edge of the fabric, you're going to take the shoulder measurement divided by 2 plus the sleeve length. So you measure and mark your shoulder measurement divided by 2 and you add your sleeve length. At the center front, I'm going to be marking the neck width and neck depth for both the front and the back together. For the back neck depth, I'm going to use 1 inch. Then for the neck width, I'm going to use 2 inches. Then I'm going to connect with a curve, and that is the back neckline. So from this point, I'm going to go down by 1 inch and I'm going to connect back to the neck width for the shoulder slope. Okay, so after this now, I'm going to measure and mark the front neck depth. Although we are going to be needing 2 different neck depths here, but the first one is where the neck piece design is going to get to. So for an elderly person or a bigger size, you can measure up to 14 to 15 inches depending on how long the person wants it to be. But for a smaller size like this one, I'm just going to maintain about 6 to 7 inches, highest 8 inches. So you measure from the shoulder down to that point where you want it to be. Then from there, you are going to measure 1 inch on fold. So 1 inch into 2, that will give you 2 inches. You can also have less or more than that. Then from that 1 inch, you're going to connect back to the neck width. So I realized this is going to be smaller, so I added about 1.5 inches to this to make it more deeper, and I reconnected. So the new line is what I'm going to use for the neck depth. I'm going to cut out the back neckline first. Then we're also going to cut out the shoulder slope. After cutting out the shoulder slope, you separate the front and the back piece because we are going to be cutting the front neck depth separately. Then you cut out on the chalk that you marked earlier. So you can leave about half an inch for the joining allowance. So I'm just going to trim it off a little bit more. I feel like it is smaller so that it will be able to enter the baby's head. So once you open it up, this is what you are going to have. Next thing is to measure and mark the sleeve opening. If it is a bigger size, you're going to be working with about 10 to 12 inches depending on the size. So for this one, I'm going to be marking about 5 to 6 inches. Then I'm going to measure to your hip line measurement and take your hip circumference divided by 4 rather, plus about 3 to 4 inches excess. But for this one, I'm just going to remove about 1 inch from this whole fabric measurement, and I'm going to use what I have left. Whatever you have on the hip line, you measure on the gown length and you connect together like so. So then after this time, you're going to create about a curve shape around this part just to give it just to make sure the armhole relax. Okay, so the next thing now is to cut out on this line that you have here. So I'm going to cut according to the shape that I have, and I'm going to cut up to the top like so. So I'm going to trim off the excess that I have here, and with that we are done with the side. After this, we are going to join the front and back together on the shoulder using half an inch allowance. Then after that, we are going to take the measurement all round, starting from the back to the front. Then we are going to use the measurement to cut out the brocade fabric. So I'm going to join the shoulder together now. I'm done joining, and this is what we have. Then after this now, before you take measurement, you notch the center back like so. Then you're going to take the measurement from that center back to the front. But when you are taking your measurement, you are going to stop exactly on this point where this front cutting stop. That's where you're going to stop your measurement. So, and whatever you have here is what you are going to use for the wideness of your collar. That is the brocade fabric you want to cut. whatever fabric you want to use, you place it on fold like this. Then you're going to take the measurement. So the measurement I took earlier, then you're going to add about 2 to 3 inches excess. It's better for you to have excess than to have shortage. You can always trim off the excess. After which you are done, place the measurement from the folded edge like so. It has to be on fold. So here I'm going to mark 5 inches, the wideness of my collar plus sewing allowance and the fraying allowance, because this fabric frays a lot. So if you have access to a weaving machine, you can simply weave the fabric immediately, or you add the fraying allowance. So after cutting it out like this, we are going to stitch down the middle of this fabric. This is where we are going to need the second neck depth that we measured earlier. You can simply measure around your neckline, but if the person is not available for you to measure, you can simply decide or determine the neck depth from this fabric. So if you have the neck depth of, so for a baby now, the neck depth is always around 3 to 4 inches, but because this is going to be a bubu, there will be no opening at the back like a fastener, a zip, or nothing. So you can stop at 6 inches or 7 inches, but at the same time you don't want it to be too wide so that it won't expose the chest. And the 7 inches is what I'm going to measure from the top edge of this fabric like this. So I'm going to measure the 7 inches, and I'm going to start my sewing from 7 inches down to the end of this fabric. So you are going to fold the fabric into 2 like this, or you just measure or find the midpoints of this fabric. Then you are going to sew it. So I'm going to be using a chalk, just like I just marked it. So you're going to measure up to that 7 inches, and that is where your sewing is going to start. You're going to start the sewing straight down from this point down to the end of this fabric. So guys, I'm done doing that, and this is what it's going to look like. Once you're done, you're going to have something like this. All right, so and here is going to be the new neck measurement. So here I'm going to stitch round to hold these 2 fabric pieces together. Go ahead and measure your fabric again and trim off the excess that you can stitch down the fabric together. Now I'm done doing that, and as you can see, this is what it's going to look like. Now you're going to place it on the neckline, and it's going to look like this. When you're about to get to the very end, you need to adjust the collar because it will be wider than the space that you have. So you adjust it to the measurement that you have there. So when you're done, this is what it's going to look like. If you tuck it in on the right side, this is what you're going to have. So you're going to fold in this excess that you have, this ½ an inch that you have, and you're going to stitch it down at the back like so. So I'm going to run a stitch on this little fabric that I have here, and with that we are done with the neckline. Then after this, I'm going to top stitch on the actual fabric on the right side of the collar. So guys, I'm done doing that, and this is what it's going to look like. The next thing is to attach the brocade to the hem of the sleeve. I already cut a piece of fabric. Decide on how wide you want it to be, but it has to be the same length as the sleeve hem length. Now I'm done doing that, and here is what it looks like. So what I'm going to do is to cut off this excess first. I'm also going to cut out the excess on the sleeve. After that, now you're going to fold the fabric into 2 this way. Then you're going to stitch from the armhole with about 1 inch. But for this one, I'm just going to be using ½ an inch to join it together. Then after that, I'm going to fold the hem. Whatever allowance you added for the folding, you fold it in, and you're going to stitch it round. So guys, I'm done with that, and here is what it looks like. So after this, you give it the proper press, you secure the inside of the fabric because this fabric frays a lot, so I'm going to weave the inside to secure the edges, and by the side you can also open it up a bit to about 4 to 5 inches to enhance more easy movement. Okay, so guys, that'll be all for this tutorial. I hope you find this tutorial helpful. If yes, kindly click on the like button, like this video, share this video so that we can reach as many people as possible that might be interested in this kind of video. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel if you are yet to do so. Turn on your notification bell so as to know whenever we drop a new video, and do not forget to leave a comment for us. Till we meet again in my next one. Bye bye.